time and didn't get time.
James Dean certainly looked like he was ready to throw on Craig Alvarez. I mean, he was hot from the get-go. And Albie is ejected for the first time as a big league manager in his 9th game. Blaze thought either he had called time or Ashcraft wasn't going to be able to pitch yet. He just dropped the bat.
Yeah, that's courtesy of Masson.
Our hero fighting for us.
By the way, I mean, let's just be honest about it. Let's not pussyfoot around it. We have a major crisis on our hands. A lot of people would say, don't make this much about it at this point. It's not worth it, but I would say I'm in full-blown panic mode.
I can tell, yeah.
Drew Forrester could win our bracket contest tonight.
I didn't even know that. Well, I just knew I wasn't going to win, so I just kind of
We have a major crisis on our hands.
Who does he have? He has to have Michigan, right?
No, he has UConn.
Really?
He's the only person that has UConn.
In the entire thing.
Drew Forrester could win our bracket contest. Good guy John Heberlin, noted UMBC fan, who we found out years later, he and I lived literally in the same building our freshman year at UMBC, and yet didn't know each other at all. John Heberlin would win if Michigan wins.
Oh, I could win 4. I could be 4th if Michigan wins.
That would be neat. You know what that would get you?
4th place?
Exactly right. Put that on a T-shirt. That's almost as good as that over 4.5 bet that you had on Maryland football.
So good.
Drew Forrester could win the bracket contest. That might break me. Like, that might be... Like, when I tell people...
Geddy Lee. Who's Geddy Lee? Is that a golfer?
Oh, God. It's the singer of Rush. That's really bad.
How's that bad? I'm supposed to know who the lead singer of Rush is?
Very famous. He couldn't be more famous.
I bet if... I mean, okay.
God.
As anyone born after the year 2000, I bet
that's not something you should be proud of. That's
Geddy
not
Rush
something
is.
that you should be like, we all know nothing. Neato, gang.
I mean, I know some Rush songs, yeah.
Drew Forrester could win the bracket contest.
Good for Drew.
I mean, did we just cancel it then? Like, did we just never do it again if Drew Forrester wins? When I say to you people every year, what do you mean, you people? I mean, you people. You don't need to know anything about college basketball in order to get in. Hello.
What do you mean? He hosts a basketball segment each week.
Yeah. Ask him right now to name a UConn player. There's a small chance he says Dan Orlovsky. He might remember that, like, Rip Hamilton went to UConn. Maybe.
I'd be surprised that he would know Orlovsky went to UConn. I guess Coach Orlovsky's on TV all the time.
Yeah, he is on TV a lot. Might remember that Ray Allen went to UConn. Maybe. But I can't guarantee that either. Holy hell. How is this guy a game away from winning the bracket contest? I've never rooted for Michigan before in my life, and had no intent to ever. But I kind of have no choice at this point. I'm going to have to be a Michigan man. You call Ottenheimer, you let him know I'm a Michigan man tonight. What do you have to do to be a Michigan man? I mean, other than stalk your girlfriend who was actually working for you, and how do you become a Michigan man?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, you got to just start yelling.
Wear khakis and drink a lot of milk.
Right. Or yell, go blue.
I got nothing. Oh, what a miserable.
Hate Ohio State, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, okay.
That's easy,
That's
guess.
fine. Yeah, I think that just means that you're an American, really. God. You were saying something about the Orioles? Because
they lost.
My attention has been completely shattered by the fact that Drew Forrester could win our bracket contest. God damn it. What? This isn't the country I want my kids to grow up in. That's just the way that I... Coming up on the program today, Ryan Ripken will join us. We'll talk to him about whether or not we should be panicking.
About UConn potentially winning.
About a 1-5 week for the O's. Max Watkinson, Baltimore native, St. Paul's alum and Loyola goalkeeper. If you missed it on Saturday, they had a really good win over BU. But notably, this young man made 17 saves and scored a goal against BU's vaunted 10-man right. You know, going into that game, BU had held opponents to an under 70% clearing rate for the season.
Wow.
Like, it wasn't just they were the best ride in the country. It was with a bullet. And Loyola methodically picked them apart on Saturday. So, massive win for the Greyhounds. And we'll talk to Max Watkinson about scoring a goal for the first time in his career on top of the excellent season that he's had between the pipes. And so all that coming up, we'll do 3 up and 3 down. It was much easier to do one side of that this week. Way easier to come up with the downs than it was to come up with the ups. But we're heroes, so we'll do it nonetheless. Today's show is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. The Mania ends tonight. Where else would you want to be to watch a championship get handed out than inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel? 100-foot media wall, great food and drink specials. Plus, they've got interactive opportunities during the games for you to win prizes. Go hang out tonight. You will be so glad that you did. Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Your question, or the talking point is this just the start of the season? There's going to be a stretch during the year where a team's going to go 1-5, or is it a sign of real problems, systemic problems for the Orioles that will ultimately doom them? And my answer is, I have no earthly idea.
Oh, well, what are we doing here?
Sorry. I wish. That's the question that I'm going to ask other people this week. Well, I mean, hopefully they go out and sweep the White Sox. And if they get swept by the White Sox, then we know the answer.
Well, the White Sox good. Maybe we go ball club. Pirates might be a good ball club.
Pirates, I can listen to that argument. They might be a good ball club. White Sox.
They got Austin Hayes. They got Sean Burke.
They do have Austin Hayes.
Others, I think.
Mm-hmm. Others, I think. Yeah.
Miguel Vargas.
Others, I think.
Oh, the Japanese guy, Murakami.
Oh, right. Yeah, they do have him. The thought that I had yesterday.
I think they swept Toronto, didn't they?
And it's tough because you don't want to pile on Jeremiah Jackson, because Jeremiah Jackson, for the most part, does his job, right? Like, he's one of the guys you can kind of rely on for what it is that you're asking him to do. But on the bunt, where he didn't touch the bag yesterday, that was the moment where I kind of felt broken about this is the type of stuff that made me say, I need a hellfire and brimstone veteran manager. There was the reason why I thought they needed to find someone who had done it before and that had some cachet and carried a big stick. And we tried to sell ourselves on, hey, a first-time manager could demand accountability too. And, again, Craig Albernez has said all of the right things to this point. I have no reason to think that Craig Albernez might not be a really good manager. And maybe, Pete Alonso can help demand that these guys, this isn't acceptable. But the defense has been lackluster, to say the least. And some of that is the limitations of the guys they have out there. I mean, the one that Kobe Mayo yesterday, some of that you're going to just live with, right? You're going to say, all right, you got a guy playing third base. It's not really a third baseman. Now he's got to start hitting. Like, that has to happen. I still think he's had some pretty good at-bats, but he's got to start hitting. But the defense on the whole just continues to be And that's the type of stuff all of the other things deal with. You can't fix that Chris Bassett stunk to this point this season. That's a different problem. But that, you would really like to hope would be left in the past. Like, that stuff's not going to continue. I don't want to pile on Jeremiah Jackson. Jeremiah Jackson isn't the problem, but how in the ever-loving F do you not have your foot on the base? I mean, how does that happen? Look, it was a goofy day. Then the ball that goes off Chris Bassett, right? Like, on Saturday, if your pitcher can just field the ball a little bit better, then... But do you really want to pile on a pitcher playing defense? That's... But it just feels like I've seen this before. And it's not okay. And that was where my hope was. You bring in a veteran manager this offseason, someone who's been there before, and it's not going to be okay. And there's going to be accountability that's going to be demanded from that guy on day one. And I understand, because the more I talk to people around baseball, that some of that just doesn't exist anymore. That it is a player's game, and that it is a general manager's game now. And the role of the manager almost anywhere is minimal. I don't know if there is a place where there's still hellfire and brimstone, and there's still accountability.
College baseball, I guess, right? Like,
I mean, it's kind of what Tony Vitello said, right?
Yeah.
Like, and people didn't like what he said, but Tony Vitello kind of made that point, right? What was the phrase that he used that got everybody all worked up about it? Oh, God. You can really get after him a little bit more or something like that. Tony Vitello quote about difference between college and MLB. Hang on.
When that was at the middle of last week?
Yeah, about that, right? Oh, damn it. Adapt coaching. So Tony Vitello, here's what
I got
it
ejected
was.
yesterday. I can't find the...
Hang on. I'm going to get it. Because this is the problem you have. I can't talk down to guys anymore. That was the quote that got everybody worked up. Tony Vitello said, I can't talk down to guys anymore. And everybody said, well, why are you talking down to college kids? And he probably could have said it in a better way. There's no doubt. But I think we all understand what he's saying. When you're dealing with millionaires, the hell do they care about what you have to say? You're a guy. So essentially, the GMs are just trying to find the guys that carry the biggest... you got the... Fine.
Yeah, it's like a minute long. I don't know if we want it.
I don't really care that much about Tony Vitello. But these millionaires are kind of saying back, like, dude, with all due respect, you're just the dude that's sitting here. You're not affecting our lives. You're not changing us. What do you know more about baseball than we do? What does Tony Vitello know more about baseball than Logan Webb? Which doesn't mean that he doesn't, but he hasn't accomplished that much. So instead, general managers are hiring managers that are just an extension of their philosophies. Do you believe in the data and the science of baseball? And will you make decisions based on the science of baseball? And if you do, then we want you. You coming in here and lighting a fire under the boys' ass, that's not really baseball anymore. That's not the way this stuff works. I would like for that to be the case, because it feels like right now is one of those times where the boys need to have a fire lit under their ass. This isn't okay. This is where you want Pete Alonso to come in and call the meeting on the mound himself and say, shut it the F down. I said at the beginning of the year that I didn't believe this team could bottom out because I believed that the 1 through 5 of the pitching staff was too good for it to bottom out. This isn't bottoming out, but this can extend to bottoming out. This is how bottoming out starts. It starts by you going 1-5 in a week. Now, it can go one of two ways. Either that can be solved quickly, and you can forget about it, or you can somehow lose 2 out of 3 in Chicago. Win the night, then go lose tomorrow in kind of perplexing fashion, and then you lose on Wednesday, and suddenly you're staring down bottoming out. And that's what you wanted to believe, or I at least wanted to believe, that the pitching staff was too good from 1 to 5 to allow that to happen. Well, Kyle Bradish certainly hasn't kept up his end of the bargain. Remember, Kyle Bradish was the guy that, you can bring in Ranger Suarez, but truth be told, he's not better than Kyle Bradish, which was always absurd from the people that just wanted to justify why the Orioles shouldn't spend money on pitching. But even if you didn't think like that, this is not what you're supposed to be getting from Kyle Bradish 2 starts into the season against 2 lineups that are not murderer's row. I don't want to take anything away from the Pirates, who I just said I think could be a good team. And he made his first start against Twins. It wasn't even against the Rangers. The Twins aren't even a good lineup. Kyle Bradish not holding up his end of the bargain, period. Chris Bassett obviously not holding up his end of the bargain. Disastrous. I thought this team couldn't bottom out because I thought those guys were too good. Now, it's 2 starts, and I recognize that. I'm not going to pretend like this defines what Kyle Bradish or Chris Bassett are going to be. But undoubtedly, if they pitch like this for extended periods, you can bottom out. And again, every team is going to go through a week where they go 1-5. That's going to happen to everyone. Maybe not the Dodgers, but maybe.
I'll bet against it. Yeah.
It's going to be really hard for them to go 1-5 at any point. But everybody else is going to go through a week this season where they go 1-5. That is baseball. But you can be buried by this. It can become overwhelming. It can bottom out. And it is critical immediately. You don't get to say, well, it's tough because they don't have Jackson Holiday, or it's tough because you don't have Jordan Westburg. Tough tits. You don't get to say, hey, maybe we'll get those guys back. If you're buried before then, it's going to be irrelevant when those guys come back. And I guess with Westburg, because Lord knows. My first takeaway, if I was writing a column, it would be, I don't know that if Buck Showalter was managing this team, that they would definitively be better so far.
Right. Are they going to be 4-5? Like what's,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But my first blush is these lapses are the type of things that happen when you have a manager trying to feel his way into doing the job. And this team needed more urgency. There needed to be more urgency, particularly because of how last year went, that we have to start fast. We have to make this work. And I think that was the disappointment that surrounded not going to the top of the rotation. Because, again, maybe Kyle Bradish will feel his way in as the season goes on. And, hey, he hasn't thrown many innings so far, so they've got that going for him. Maybe, have we gotten definitive update on Zach Eflin yet?
No. Apparently, we're still waiting on the second opinion.
Just going to get the second opinion.
Which we don't even know. We don't even know what the first
opinion was, correct. You and I don't. Somebody does. But watching it, has made me feel like this is why I wanted a veteran manager. This is why I wanted someone who's been around the block. This is why I wanted somebody that could come in immediately. There wasn't going to be a learning curve. He wasn't going to have to feel his way into the job. That on day one, you could demand something. The people that always want to fire someone, stop. Now, you guys know how I feel. This is how baseball works. Like, a year ago, did not feel the way about Brandon Hyde that you guys did. I did not put that on Brandon Hyde. I absolutely put it far more on the front office and their dereliction of duty going into the 2025 season. It's unfathomable that was acceptable to anyone involved in the organization, the offseason that they had. I put that on them. The Orioles, it's the way it works, right? Like the general manager gets to make the decision. He's at the top, so he gets to fire the manager. The manager can't turn around and fire the general manager and say, dude, what the F was this? This? You think Tomo Sagano is the answer for how we're going to make up for Corbin Burns?
Had a good start yesterday against the Phillies.
Good for Tomo.
In Colorado.
As it turns out, he was, he was helpful as the year went on. I have no negative feelings towards Tomo. It's not Tomo Sagano's fault that the Orioles didn't do more pitching-wise. But the manager doesn't get to fire the general manager. The general manager gets to fire the manager. And those of you that are now pivoting to, well, now you got to fire Michael Elias. Well, look, at some point, if this were to continue, that conversation will be had. But my God, that's where I get to step in and say, settle down. Settle down. You are 9 games into a season. Stop. It ain't good. It's not a good 9 games. There's only one team in baseball with fewer wins than the Orioles right now, which is kind of wild too, right? Like that's also kind of
good parity, yeah.
You know, right?
We don't need a salary cap.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that there's only one 2-win team, and that's the Red Sox. So even better.
Those suckers got Ranger Suarez too.
Yeah, right. And those losers. A couple of responses. Let me get in from John in Little Rock. Meet the old boss, same as meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Channeling the Who, related to the changes in the. By the way, the way that it works with the pool, I think it's 320 points for winning the championship. The championship is the most important thing. Like it's why when people panic about the first round of their bracket, I always say, stop it. Stop it.
Unless your champion loses, right?
Yes, correct. And nobody's champion lost in the first round this year. The championship is the most important thing in the bracket contest. And he can get 320 points. He would be in first. Timothy, this isn't on Alvarez, it's on Elias. I can see how you would blame Alvarez for the bad defense, but there are bigger issues than that, and those don't fall on him. I don't inherently disagree with that. And again, it's not really that I'm passing a judgment on Craig Alvarez. He's been a manager for 9 games. I have no clue what kind of manager Craig Alvarez is going to be. We have nowhere near anything that would resemble a sample size. But urgency was the part. To me, it's not about Craig Alvarez. It's about the urgency that I felt that this team couldn't find themselves in the position that they were in last year. They did not have room for someone to learn on the job. When Griffin inevitably quits and goes to become the play-by-play guy of the Lynchburg Hillcats or whatever, I'm going to be screwed because the next guy's going to have to learn on the job. I mean, to be fair, sometimes we're still learning on the job. To be fair. But I'm going to be screwed because that guy's going to have to learn on the job. The Orioles didn't have the luxury of learning on the job. It's too important that they got off to a serious start. Because the demons of what happened a year ago are real. Yes, there's always a team that we bury after a month into the season that ends up, holy crap, look at what they did the rest of the year. But it's rare. That can't be the plan. And to me, it required more seriousness than that. The defensive lapses are the stuff that makes me say, I don't know. It might be that Craig Alvarez would say, my God, we've worked on this every day. We've spent 20 minutes with Jeremiah Jackson every day about bunt coverage. I don't know, but it's totally possible he would say that. It's more about accountability. It's more about, I just believe that a veteran manager would be in a better place immediately to demand accountability. And I pray that Craig Alvarez becomes Earl Weaver. And I can't tell you that he won't. He might. But my gut, my first blush was this is why I wanted it to be a veteran manager. Because this stuff can't keep happening. You're already limited. You are limited in your outfield defense, period. Limited. And you got to overcome that somehow. This stuff can't happen. The pitching, obviously, has been a nightmare. a nightmare. And that, I think, is a bigger disappointment because given what they did, again, they didn't have Framber Valdez, they didn't have Ranger Suarez, but you just thought 1 through 5, they couldn't be this bad. And that has been alarming. Now, I mean, Shane Baz had a good start on Saturday. That was encouraging. Trevor Rogers, God bless him.
Thank God.
God bless him. But, John says we were all promised by the local experts that Albie was a fiery guy and would get the boys motivated. Is that?
Well, that's what he tried to do. In the
I just don't know how
second
anybody would
inning,
know
or third
that.
inning.
I mean, he's never been a manager before. I mean, I'm not saying there weren't people that were saying that. I just don't know who would. When anybody would ask me, what do you expect of Craig Albert as, my answer would be, I have no idea. Like, you can't know that.
Yes, you can know if he's a guy that just chirps a lot, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
I
Like,
mean,
that's-
sure. Or you can know,
yeah.
again, what I could gauge from him is that everybody loves him. He was a very popular figure with everyone around baseball. And I could gauge that from the people that I talked to, that you could expect that he could get a little bit more out of catchers. I mean, certainly
Adley.
offensively, Adley's been a lot better.
We had a good throw on, I don't know, at some point last week.
Basayo, learning on the job. A lot of that.
But that was kind of what we expected with him, though, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not down on Basayo yet. I mean, obviously the one hit he had was.
Yeah.
I don't think it's landed yet. I'm not down on Basayo yet. I just you'd like it if he had a nice 10 for 20 week, something that you just made you say, all right, this is the guy. This is the guy.
Or we'll just keep hitting 450-foot homers.
Yeah, do a lot of that. We'll take that. We'll come back in. We'll get Ryan Ripken's thoughts on what he's seen so far, and I'm going to guess that he's going to tell you not to panic. If I know Ryan, that's what he's going to say. But we'll let him say his piece when we come back in. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
Hey O's fans, kick off your weekend with Party at the Yard, presented by Coors Light. Every Friday home game. Hit the Coors Light roof deck and Legends Park for happy hour featuring $5 12-ounce Coors Lights when gates open until 1 hour after first pitch. Enjoy live music, photo ops, and entertainment all night long. And welcome a special guest splasher who will keep the good vibes going in the bird bath. Party with the O's on Fridays. Visit Orioles.com/party at the yard.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now. On the cover, Dave Ginsburg chats with Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. about his life now at the age of 65, his role with the Orioles ownership group, and much more. Also inside, Bill Ordine helps us learn more about new Ravens head coach Jesse Minter. Luke Jackson finds out about new Orioles slugger Pete Alonso from those who have played with him, and we meet college lacrosse players from programs all across the area. PressBox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
March Mania is on at Live Casino. And you can get a front row seat for all the action at Sports and Social. Raise your game with massive wall-to-wall TVs. And raise a cheer with your favorite beers, cocktails, and an all-star menu. Best of all, you could win huge prizes every game. Don't get benched. Book your table at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR. Stan the Fan, Charles, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson will be talking baseball with you coming up a little bit later on today, as they do every Monday. Today, 5 o'clock, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Stan shows, as always, are brought to you by Warnken Law and the Costas Inn, with two great locations, the original in Dundalk, the new one in Timonium at the Grandstand. Join Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson today at 5. Let's keep talking about what was obviously a brutal week for the Birds, 1-5 week, including being swept by the Pirates this weekend in Pittsburgh. Joining us now, you know him from the Ryan Ripken Show and The Fan and Masson, and I'm going to guess he's probably going to be like 20 other places during the course of the season. He's our friend Ryan Ripken, and he's back with us now here on GCR. What's going on, buddy? How was your Easter?
What up, Glenn? It was good, actually. Was at a wedding, beautiful wedding. Had the weather on Saturday, not the weather Sunday, thank goodness, early in the day. But, yeah, it was great. How about you?
Oh, man, we had the whole family at our house. This is our one. Everybody's got to take turns hosting during the course of the year. And so we got Easter because we got a big property. We got a farm. So they for the kids, it's good to have more space to do an Easter egg hunt on, right? So It's a lot. Like, you get very stressed about it. Like, what did we forget about? Now, you mentioned the weather. Like, now what do we do? Do we have to move it inside? Do we have to do all that? And then you get there and everybody's there and you're just like, God, this is a great day. Like, I don't know why I was so stressed about this. Like, what a great day we had, man. We couldn't have been any better. So big pop all around in the Clark household yesterday. Could have gone for better results baseball-wise, though. Could have gone for that. I'll start broadly, and I'll allow you to say the thing that you always say, because I do recognize that it's only 9 games, and it is not worth panicking about, but please go ahead and do the Ryan Ripken bit if you don't mind.
What, the bit about talking about the O's are fine?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're looking for?
Please.
You know, the funny thing is, I didn't say, I don't think I've really said it for the last year and a half, 2 years, which I guess in that case had been the truth, you know, but overall here, I got to come up with a different type of motto where it doesn't, you know, that whole phrase, right, isn't to say that everything's great, right? It's just, we got to let this process play out. Through good, through thick and thin, it's got to play out. But, Glenn, I know why people feel the way that they do, and I completely understand it. And this wasn't just because of 1 year last year of the Orioles taking a step back. This has been 43 years of fans waiting for their team to take that step, you know? So it's a built-up feeling, and when the recency bias of last year is still in the mind, where the team got off to a slow start, and fans are going to go to that place, and I rightfully understand it. But as the baseball guy and looking at how this start to the season has gone, it does feel different to me than it did last year. And I still have a lot of hope and optimism that these guys are going to get it rolling. But obviously not the series that you won in Pittsburgh. You lose 2 one-run games, and then the last one, you blink and you're down 6. So I got a lot. I still love a lot of things that the team has, but no doubt, they got some things they got to clean up fundamentally. Albie talked about it, and that's just the facts. If they are a little bit more fundamental, they probably win a game or 2 in Pittsburgh, but the reality is they weren't. And they lost all 3.
Ryan, one of the things that I'd said this weekend that got way more traction on social media than I thought it was sort of a throwaway tweet, and it ended up getting a lot, was, and I think you and I had talked about it, I was of the belief that they needed to have a little bit more urgency, and as part of that, I wanted this to be a veteran manager. And I don't say that to blame any of this on Craig Albertaz, who might very well prove to be the greatest manager the Orioles ever had. It to me was more a reflection of, I don't think that they could afford to allow someone to learn on the job. I thought that because of what happened a year ago that you alluded to, this team had to get off to a very, or at least a reasonable start, a fast start, whatever you want to call it, to find their way in. And I wanted someone that would demand accountability on day one, that the moment they walked in, and I undoubtedly, you love him, I love him, I have very romantic feelings about what Buck Showalter did on day one when he arrived in Baltimore, and there was an accountability that we had not seen in a very long time. I wanted that guy. They went a different direction. Maybe everything would be the exact same, but I don't want to pile on Jeremiah Jackson, because for the most part, Jeremiah Jackson does the job that you could ask him to do. But when you see someone not touching the base at first base, I can't help but scream, man. Like, the major league level, how does that happen? And why is it that this stuff continues to occur as managers have changed over the course of the last 2 years?
Well, they've had a lot of, or how do I want to word this? This was not exactly how they drew up to start the year. Right? Jackson was supposed to be your everyday second baseman. Jordan Westburg was supposed to be your everyday third baseman. So you have guys that are being put into positions that, even though they can play the position, that hasn't been maybe the position that they have been playing for the majority of time. But that's whatever the reason is, there's no excuse to not be more fundamental with what you do. And I think what I just said before about the fundamental part, and I get it. To your point, you're saying, well, this should be taken care of. This should be addressed. You're right. In a perfect world, you would love from the get-go that this team is crisp, clean, and does everything right.
Yeah.
But I think what was understood, and then it's now being shown, you have a new everyday center fielder that's going to have to be out there, because whatever people wanted to think about Cedric Mullins and his bat, even though I still have belief in Ceddy, but I'm not going to deny that he didn't have his struggles offensively at times. But you know what Cedric was? He was your everyday center fielder.
He was a dog.
You knew who was out there, and you knew what he was going to do. You now know that Taylor Ward's mainly going to be in left, but there's still a comfortability of the outfielders getting into the role. Is Cowser going to be the everyday center fielder? Is it going to be Taveras going to get more run? Is it Beavers? But you see what I mean? I'm throwing out 3 names when in the past you didn't have to think about that. And now you're having Jeremiah Jackson play second. Blaze Alexander play second. Blaze play third. And what you're seeing is that versatility is great, but sometimes can lead to more mistakes when the time comes. But above all, you got to be more fundamental if you're going to win, Glenn. I think that's just the simple answer, because in games when you lose by 1, you can go back and look at moments throughout the game, and sometimes they might not go down as errors, right? The Jeremiah getting over to first, not getting his footwork, I don't think that was ruled an error. I think it was ruled a hit, right, if I'm not mistaken. So in the box score, that's a hit. But as we watch the game, that was an opportunity to get an out, and it should have been an out. And I think that's where these conversations go, is that there's moments throughout a game that, whether they are actual errors in the box score or they are plays that could have been made and maybe we know that they are quote unquote errors, those are moments that could come back to decide a ball game. And in this case, for the Orioles in that one game, I thought Shane Baz pitched very well. In a game where you lose by one, they had a couple moments, right? It comes down to the end where Helsley gives up the run, but also the Orioles could have been winning that game. And the same thing when they tried to come back in game one, had that chance. And I know I'm babbling, but the final thing, Chris Bassett in his game, if you get that one out, does it lead to the huge inning? It still might, but you're put in a pitcher that needs help in a tougher position. So it's little things like that that are going to put him in a tough spot. But I think if they truly can clean that up, Glenn, drastically how different the results can change. Because I do believe this offense will get going, and I do believe the starting pitching will go deeper into games. It's just none of the parts are clicking yet, and that's not a bad thing, but you want to be able to continue to get better as you move deeper and deeper into the year.
Ryan Ripken with us here on GCR. Ryan, you bring up Bassett. Obviously, he and Bradish in particular, it's been a mess to start the season. I think the Bradish one is more concerning because he's the guy that I think a lot of us believed was going to become this team's ace. And for what it's worth, Trevor Rogers has very much looked the part 2 starts in. What do you make of what you've seen from Bradish so far? Obviously, we know what he's capable of doing. Is there anything that appears to be off to you 2 starts into the season?
I really got zero concerns with Kyle Bradish. You know, really, honestly, there is one inning in his 2 outings, and it was the last outing where he gave up 4 in the second. It's something about the second inning right now, Glenn. You know, for all the Orioles pitchers, Shane Baz had that earlier in the year. Kyle Bradish has had that. Chris Bassett had that. You know, in that situation, right, it was, you know, Connor Griffin has that double to left center on a slider that was just hung up a little bit too long, and he puts a good swing on it, and then it kind of opens things up a little bit for Pittsburgh. His first down against the Twins, I thought his stuff looked really good. You know, the problem for him was he just wasn't putting away batters the way that he had wanted. You know, had 3 walks in the Pittsburgh game, and I think in the previous outing, if I'm not mistaken, his first outing, he also had 3 walks, right? So that the walks are a little bit high, so trying to find his footing. But when I look at pure stuff, his stuff's there.
Okay.
It's all right there. I think also with a guy and talking to Kyle about it, this is the first time he actually had a full spring training. And now this is his first time, you think about it, actually being ready for the start of the season in some time. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I really have no worries. Now, Chris Bassett on the other side, not that I'm going to push the worry button on Bassett, but why are people thinking of it is because of what happened last year. There was a veteran pitcher that came to Baltimore, and he struggled with his command early, and then he struggled to get back to his form. And so that's where the thought goes. But Bassett did pitch really meaningful baseball just this past October in the World Series. And I want to, and he deserves that benefit of the doubt. But let's just be clear, though. For this Orioles team, their strength needs to be that their starters can go deep into games, right? You go into the 6th inning, you're going to give your team a great chance. And that's really been the issue, is that the starters haven't been able to push it. It's caused the bullpen to be pushed more to their brink while they're a little bit trying to get their footing set and with injuries. So you see it's like a kinetic chain. Your starters got to set the tone, and they haven't fully set the tone yet outside of Trevor Rogers. And if you can get those guys rolling, you know, the starting rotation, I think, really can be one of the top units. But they got some work to do right now. And
it's weird because it's sort of a mixed bag in the bullpen. For as much as we were concerned about it, you bring up what happened to Helsley the other day, and, you know, boy, you would have liked to have had a challenge in that spot. That would have been good. They didn't. I want to talk about that in a second, too, in general. But, I mean, Rico Garcia has been a magician, right, to this point this season. Nunez has had moments. You know, it didn't have a great moment the other day. But, you know, I don't know, maybe in a weird way, the bullpen to me, I know Yarmiel Geraldo will be the one that people pile on, but he's not even there anymore. I don't know, I think has been more encouraging than discouraging given what our expectations and our thoughts were.
Yeah, I think just the bullpen's been overused. And if you knew that there was still some question marks about what your bullpen was going to be, they've been put in a tough position. When your starters don't go deep into a game, that's going to stretch out your bullpen earlier than you would like. And then on top of it, guys are trying to figure out their roles. I've loved seeing what Anthony Nunez has. I love seeing what Grant Wolfram has. But Grant coming in, unfortunately, with the Zach Eflin injury, right, that takes him out of a rhythm, and that makes it a long bullpen game when Zach leaves. And then on top of it, excuse me, Bassett not going deep into a game, that extends your bullpen. Bradish, same thing. And that's really where I think it's been hard because, the bullpen guys never are going to get the credit that aren't Helsley, right? Helsley, the closer, you get all the glory, and you also get some blame, but typically you get the glory. The other guys, you expect that they're going to go out there and be perfect. And that's not the case. They're going to give up runs. That's inevitable. But on top of it, these are all guys that have potential but are still trying to find their footing. So I just think at times early in the season they've just been asked to do a lot. And I think that that obviously there's going to be questions. And I think it's hard to answer those questions when they've had to be thrown into different circumstances. I think in a perfect world, you want guys to get comfortable with what their role could be. But right now, outside of Helsley, there isn't really any set roles, right? And that's a part of the process, and it hurts not having Kittredge and Keegan. So, but there is positives. There's positives with this team. There's positives with the bullpen. But when you're being asked to do more early, that can push the limits a little bit where they are a little bit short in that department.
I brought up the challenge, right? Early on, the Orioles were killing it in the challenge department, right? Like, it was brilliant. I thought this weekend we started to see what we maybe saw from some other teams, like the Twins last weekend, and maybe some of the things we've accused John Harbaugh of over the years, where there were like the frustration challenges, I just got called for strike 3, and I'm not happy about the result, so I'm starting to challenge. We heard from Craig Abernathy in spring training that he didn't want to put too many rules on when guys could or could not challenge, but you saw this weekend losing a challenge very early in the game, and now the entire game you have to think about that. At some point, do they have to have a deeper conversation about who can challenge and when, and whether or not it's okay to be challenging really under any circumstance in the second inning of a game if there's nobody on base?
I think it's a trial and error, but clearly with this new ABS system and structure, strategy is a part of it now, and of course, if it's so egregious and you say, hey, I want to challenge that, then great, you should, but it is understanding the moment, and the ABS strategy and the challenge system helped the Orioles win the finale against the Twins because the Twins challenged early and they didn't get one. And then when Rico Garcia left the bases loaded and stranded, Wallner made a challenge, right? And that was out of challenges. And why is that important? Gunnar Henderson had, I think, a 3-0 or 3-1 pitch that was actually a strike on the metrics, but it was called a ball and they can't challenge. And that was in, the 7th inning or something like that, I believe, 6th or 7th inning. But that matters. That hurt the Twins. And for the Orioles, that final inning in the 9th, they got not just the final call on Josh Bell for strike 3, they got the 3-0 pitch to be strike 1. And that was a challenge part. So I don't think that you want to limit guys and say, hey, I don't want you to challenge, but I think it's understanding the circumstance of the game. If there's a tense moment early on where it could be a huge swing, sure. But really trying to value, is this a big enough moment? And could we use this in the big moment down the stretch? And I think that's how you want it to be looked at. But you don't want guys overthinking and not challenging because they're afraid, right? It's going to be an interesting part, but no doubt strategy here with the ABS system could help teams win ball games because it already has.
Well, it also goes back to me to why I just want the robots to call the balls and strikes, man. Like, I just want us. I just don't want this to be a thing that you have to think about. I don't want it to be something that cost you where you needed a challenge in the ninth inning of a game and you didn't have one. I just want us to get the calls right. I just want us to get the calls right as much as we possibly can. All right, what am I plugging for you, man? Where are you going to be? What's going on in your world this week?
What is going on this week? Monday through Friday, I'll do the Ryan Ripken Show from 3 to 5. Just sat down with actually former Oriole Austin Hayes. So Hazy and I got to catch up. And, you know, he's a White Sox now. He's a White Sox player. And apparently it's going to be pretty cold there. And asked him about how do you hit with no batting gloves? Is that going to feel good? Stay tuned. And I'll be on 105.7 this week. And then I'll be back on with GCR whenever I get the call.
You know, we do this every day if we could, my friend. You know that's the case. We love you. At Ryan Ripken Show, that's how you follow him. And, of course, check it out every afternoon. Appreciate you, brother. Have a great week. Let's talk soon, all right?
I appreciate you guys. Have a great week. See you.
It's Ryan Ripken with us here on GCR. It is something that I was thinking about this weekend, the challenge stuff. Like, the Kobe Mayo one in particular to me, like, felt like the frustration challenge. It felt like I'm not off to the start that I want to be off to, and so I want the result to be different than what it was. And I say that, I mean, I believe that Kobe Mayo thought it was a ball. Like, I believe that. But it felt like there was a little bit more going on there. And I'm not trying to suggest that the rule should be, well, Kobe Mayo can't ever challenge a pitch. Or that insert player's name here can't ever challenge. And again, I think that the problem is that you have to challenge. I keep talking about it. I don't want challenges to exist in sports. I want the officials to officiate the games, period. And so if let me allow the computer, that was the Kobe Mayo one?
I think so. The Saturday?
Yeah,
Saturday.
Yeah, there it was. And again, they needed the challenge in the ninth inning, right? It's very close. I'm not arguing. Let me say it's very close. This was in the zone. It wasn't
that one. There was one from the weekend where it was literally on the corner, like.
Well, I mean, the one that Ryan Helsley challenged last week that we loved was, just touching.
But like still portions. Yeah, I get your point.
This was in the zone completely. The ball was in the zone. It was close, but it wasn't that close. And it felt like there was more that was coming out in that challenge. We lost a couple of games. I haven't been off to the greatest start, the start that I want to be off to. And remind me what inning that was.
That was the second inning.
Yeah. And it wasn't like there's definitely not a runner in scoring position. I can't remember if there was even a runner on base in the second inning. I really
find the full, but I guess I don't know how much how important.
So what do you do? Do you say, "Hey man, no, you're not allowed to"? I mean, it cost them in the ninth inning, right? I mean, still Ryan Helsley's got to make a better pitch, but that should have been a strikeout. One of the conversations about ABS is that
there was one runner on.
Who and what was the?
That was the second out of the inning.
That was the second out, and where was the runner?
Runner on first.
Runner on first.
Yeah.
So it's not a runner in scoring position. It's a. I just think that there has to be a deeper conversation about when you do it, the circumstances, all of that, because it did. It hurt them. But that's a baseball problem, too. It's not fair that you have to think about that stuff instead of just saying, hey, let's make sure that one was right, because it was close. There's no doubt. Let's make sure it was right, which is what I want baseball to do. I like ABS, and I know people have been entertained by it early on in the season, but eternally, I'm going to prefer for it to be balls and strikes. And my friends who are umpires have made a big deal about how the strike zone has changed. Dale Scott brought that up when we talked to him last week, but I'm not just, like, when I say friends who are umpires, I'm not even talking about major league umpires. I mean people that are just, like, umpires at high school games. have.
Yeah.
I've heard from them.
Well, and I'm already seeing because the one I showed on the screen had the ball completely in the strike zone.
Mm-hmm.
The one they actually showed on the because I just found the replay too, and it was like it was half. The ball was like half in the zone, half out of the zone. So a strike, but it wasn't as obvious as that initial graphic. So there's just now that they have every single guy's height down to the inch and half inch, like. It's much every strike zone is unique now.
That part is true, but it's definitely bigger. There's no doubt that it's a bigger strike zone than it was before, and that is advantage to the pitcher, no doubt, which is part of the reason why hitters did not necessarily want there to be ABS. It was strange to me that the pitchers didn't want ABS, but their argument was I want to manipulate whatever the umpire's zone is and know that I can go there. To me, this is a benefit to the pitchers. That ABS exists because they're getting a bigger strike zone. There's no doubt about it. I don't know. I don't know that you change the rules for who can challenge and who can't challenge, but I would have. That one stood out to me. That one stood out, and obviously what it ended up being in the ninth inning stood out. Like it stood out the combination of I don't know how significant this was. I don't know that Kobe Mayo has earned this. Well, that wasn't.
That's the same exact one.
But that's not the official one. That's.
This is. I mean, there's different. So apparently, everyone has a different type of ABS. I guess.
Okay. All right. Whatever. I'm not gonna. We're gonna nerd out on this type of stuff. And.
Well, I'm just trying to show the. I thought I was proving your point here. That.
Well, yeah, but now it's weird that one's in one place and the other one's in another place, and neither one of them is official.
Lost there, so they have a win percentage impact here, 3% there. So
because of the lost challenge, or because of the result of the pitch.
Both, I guess.
Combining the result of the pitch with the lost challenge.
Yeah, that's what I mean. However, this is tap the cap on Twitter. So, however they calculate their
old tappy, taparoo. Let's do 3 up and 3 down quickly. Let's do that because we're talking Orioles right now. I got a bunch of other stuff on the list, but let's do that right now.
3 up.
And 3 down.
3 up and 3 down is brought to you by the print issue of Press Box. In the final days for this one with Cal Ripken on the cover. You know him. He's Ryan Ripken's dad.
They're related?
Yeah, believe it or not. You can go get this for free at your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores or everywhere where you find Pressbox. And, of course, read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. And in about 9 days, you will find 9 Days was a band. They did, what did they do? They did, This is the Story of a Girl Who Cried a River and Drowned the Whole World. That song was was popular with the young ladies when I was in high school. That was a very popular song. The gals all thought it was about them. They all believed that they were the main character because of the band 9 Days. So, up yours, 9 Days. Anyway.
Shouldn't you be taking 9 days, I guess?
I don't know. I mean, I like the song, but it was crazy, the number of girls I talked to, like, oh, he's singing just about me. I'm like, probably not.
Might have been.
No, probably
not someone.
Probably not.
One of those girls was right.
If I had to guess. Probably not the case. Speaking of high school, I'm going to play trivia tonight with my high school girlfriend and her wife.
Ah.
They're in town, and they're going to come play trivia with us. And I like them a great deal. I'm very excited about that. Her wife, in fact, is an angel. Her wife, we were all out at Deep Creek one year, and she just kept bringing me more charcuterie boards. I was like, who are can I get in on this marriage? Like, what do I do about this? They were like, we don't really care for your type. I was like, it's a shame. Anyway, I don't know what that has to do with the print issue of Pressbox, but that's the story I shared now. Oh, the new print issue of Pressbox, 9 days. That's how we got there.
Left.
9 days until the new print issue of Pressbox.
Got it.
Let's start down. Oh, God. Maybe this week we should start up.
I know.
Yeah. Like, it's, ugh. My number 3 on the up list is Rico Garcia, who honestly could be higher. Like, let's be honest. This week, uniquely, 2 of his appearances were not with runners on base. So this wasn't like the classic Rico Garcia week.
Sure, he's got some length, though.
It's true. Yeah. He got 2 clean innings, or 3 clean
3 1/3 clean innings.
I'm saying, like, the clean as in didn't have base runners.
Right.
The only one that had base runners was Saturday, right, where he had inherited a runner on third with
I think so,
2 outs and walked. That was the only time he gave a base runner as he walked. And you're like, oh, no, Rico, you're not going to. But got out of that, too, and just continues to be very reliable. And I hear a rumor we might be talking to Rico Garcia this week. So that's cool because he's been really good. So I look forward to that. Rico Garcia is my number 3.
Yeah, I went with him as my number 3 as well. Because I kind of, I had to step back. I was like, was Rico Garcia really one of the 3 best Orioles this week? And I was like, I guess.
Like, I left Shane Baz off, and I could have made an argument for Shane Baz.
I left Gunnar off.
Yeah, I left Gunnar off too.
Yeah, and which also begs the question,
I
like,
think he was,
what does Gunnar have to do to make the list? I mean,
Yeah,
he OPS
I mean,
like 900.
I hear you.
So,
I don't know.
I mean, I guess win games, that would probably help. That would.
I didn't think
that
he.
would
Yeah,
make us
correct.
notice
That would
Gunnar.
help.
Rico's my number 3 as well. I left Shane Baz off too. So,
my number 2 is Taylor Ward. He had 11 hits.
Yeah, was he like 500 on the week, or
yeah,
almost
something like that.
11 for 20.
And what was nice for Taylor Ward was like the thing that we were worried about with Taylor Ward is it was redundant. He showed he's not redundant. Now, ironically, the team that we're like, are they too reliant on home runs? Now we need them to start hitting some home runs. Like maybe we get back to that.
Well, yes, they are. So then maybe they are too reliant on home runs.
Might prove it, yes, that when they don't hit home runs, they can't do anything. But Taylor Ward was a complete baseball player. Now, I say complete. He's still kind of what he is defensively. He's just not a plus defender. But as a hitter, he offered a lot and was on base and was setting the table the way that you would like a leadoff hitter to do it. Yeah, I think he did have like 6 strikeouts this week, but Taylor Ward was really good.
Everybody else did too.
For the most part, you're right. He's my number 2.
So I guess this means I put Trevor Rogers as my number 2.
And you had Taylor Ward number 1.
Just because he let up a run, I guess. That's why.
With shame.
I know. But yeah, thank you, Trevor Rogers. Really appreciate it.
Trevor Rogers was number 1 on my list because what in the F would they be without Trevor Rogers?
Yeah. Probably pretty bad.
Yeah.
Really bad, maybe.
God, man. Yeah, Trevor Rogers was number 1.
Ward was my number 1. Leadoff hitter. Taylor's version.
He was. Look at you. Yeah. Look at you. The down list, my number 3. There are lots of options this week. 2 to me were obvious. The third could have been just about anybody. I went with Tyler O'Neill as number 3. He had a miserable week, 1 for 13, 5 strikeouts, but I'll listen to a lot of arguments for who was number 3.
Yeah, I had him one higher. I put Kobe Mayo as my number 3.
Okay, all right.
Did you have Mayo on your list?
No,
or?
he didn't make my list.
Yeah, Mayo was on mine. I mean, like, we were concerned about him, obviously, coming into the year, and I guess, he's had some hiccups at third, but he's been,
for
the most part, I've been impressed by him at third base. His bat has been awful.
Yep.
It's been really, really bad. 1 for 11, 6 strikeouts.
Yep. Not good.
Just add him to the club. So Kobe Mayo's my number 3.
Kyle Bradish is my number 2. And it's a lot about expectations. I appreciate what Ryan said. That's fine. And wasn't there a challenge in the Connor Griffin at bat on Friday? Do I remember that correctly? I apologize. On Friday, that's when I was speaking to the Loyola lacrosse team, so I was a little bit distracted.
Let me see if I can pull
I thought there might have been a challenge in that at bat.
I remember Connor challenged something. I can't remember if it was that at bat or if it was later in the game. Maybe, I don't know. Bradish didn't make my list just because.
To me, it's an expectation thing. Like Bradish.
Well, I don't know. I just thought that I felt like Friday was going to be tough anyway. Like that, the vibes were insane in Pittsburgh with Connor Griffin. And,
if Kyle Bradish is supposed to be a top of
the
Kyle Bradish is supposed to be a top of the rotation pitcher, and that's the way that we're.
Yeah, I know, but maybe he's not.
That part is a different. That to me, the opportunity cost of that. This goes back to they were too bullish about Grayson Rodriguez a year ago. The bullishness about Kyle Bradish is all well and good until you're actually counting on it, until you have to have it. The possibility of Kyle Bradish being a top-of-the-rotation pitcher was clear, but to plan on it was foolhardy. He's pitched well in short stints. He hasn't been that since 2023. Which doesn't mean he can't be that, but it's a little bit like talking about Mike Trout as being a really good baseball player.
Well, yeah, he hit on the hand last night, so yeah, your argument's going to stand, I guess, because
could he be?
He's not going to play again this year.
Maybe he could be, but we have no idea, and it's been a while since he has been. They need Kyle Bradish. The math for this season working involves Kyle Bradish, top of the rotation type of pitcher. And He has sure as hell not been that.
It was the 6th inning is when Connor Griffin
That's when he got the challenge.
and he got it right. Yeah.
All right. Never mind. Take it back.
And nothing happened in that inning. So,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah. So Bradish didn't make. O'Neal is my number 2. Because he was pretty bad as well. Same thing. I mean, they can't even get him in the lineup now. Like that's how not worth his contract he is. That he sits out of the lineup 3 straight days, and 4 straight days, 3 straight games. Like it's just it's bad, and he's hard to watch. I mean, unless he's hitting the ball over the fence, I don't like watching him play baseball at all. So. It might be, and I think it might be a personal thing as well. But Tyler O'Neill is my number 2, so I can admit that.
Yeah, big of you, very big of you. Look, man, Chris Bassett was a mess, and it's worse. Whenever it involves 2 starts, it makes it really difficult for this particular game. But I mean, it was
both were bad.
Yeah,
so.
It was a disaster. It was unmitigated disaster. So he was an easy choice to be number 1. Couple of things I want to get into before we talk to Max Watkinson because I've got him on my list, but one of them is baseball related. Can you pull up the Manny Machado thing from yesterday? And we'll get 3 Up and 3 Down up at glennclarkradio.com here in a little bit. Manny Machado, anytime Manny Machado sneezes, somehow it becomes a thing.
It's national news.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe if you missed it yesterday, there was a play as the Padres beat the Red Sox. And by the way, Manny Machado ended up hitting a 3-run homer in the game. And I like Manny Machado beating the Red Sox. That makes me happy. That gives me some joy. There was a play that got an awful lot of attention. And one particular account that kind of spun the conversation by saying, is this a dirty play? Which is just kind of a bizarre word to use, even if you think you saw what you think you saw. So
I think they know what they're doing. They're hunting engagement.
Yes, they're looking for engagement. So here it is.
You want the sound or just?
Sure, you can give me the sound. What is this courtesy of?
This is the Padres. I don't know what they're.
Padres TV.
Yeah, Padres
is
TV.
what we'll call it.
Snap throw to first, and it hits Machado. So the runners will advance. Manny to second, and taking third is Merrill.
I think they got a piece of Ryan O'Nori as well. Let's take a look right here. Snap throw.
Oh, you know what Contreras is saying? That Manny did that on purpose, and it kind of looked a little bit like he may have.
Going to a little Reggie Jackson right there. You know what?
Take a look at the way he moved his foot.
Yeah, I was looking on that.
So there's 2 thoughts to me. The first is you slow something like that down, you can see whatever you want to see. Is it possible that that's what he was thinking about? Maybe, but it's also a god-awful throw that Manny Machado is going to have to now work his way around in this situation because the ball is coming right at him and not to first base. And what nobody's talking about is whether or not Manny Machado in that process is like thinking, do I have to hop over this? Do I have to? And it just ends up being sort of awkward. Now, is it possible that he completely purposely kicked that ball? Yeah, it is. And you know what we normally call that in baseball?
High IQ, smart,
heads
heady.
up.
Yeah.
Heads up. That's what we normally call those types of things. We normally say, hey, man, by all means. The ball's being thrown at you, by all means. And you can be frustrated by that. You can say, that's not the spirit of baseball or whatever you want to say, but to suggest that this is, for whatever reason, Manny Machado has been the poster boy for not playing the game the right way. Which, in very rare cases, I think I've said, I'm not on board with that. In most cases, I would say, yeah, that's kind of baseball. But this one, in particular, I don't even know with certainty because you're slowing it down and seeing a leg motion. Let's start with, dude, the ball's coming at you. It doesn't always look. You're also suggesting that in the split second that ball's coming at him, he realized exactly where the ball was going to be, exactly how far off the line the throw was, and figured out how he could soccer kick it. Which is, that's a lot.
It's impressive.
That's a lot. Is it impossible? I can't say it's impossible. But my gut tells me it's more like the ball's here, I'm sticking my leg out, that's what it is. And he didn't, kick it with his toe. He kicked it with, the bottom part of his foot. even if he did think all of that through and concoct all of it, that's baseball. It is Manny Machado is of no obligation to help out the Red Sox. To say, here's what I'll do is I'll make sure that if that ball touches me, it stops right here in the field of play. None. Zero. Spare me, man. Spare me. You can be angry at Machado, or you can be angry at the catcher. What the hell was that throw? What was that throw? So there's that. 2. You got the thing. You got Lamar Jackson showing up. Everybody's all Lamar Jackson.
Of course I got that.
These aren't OTAs.
This is a Raven show.
These are just off-season workouts. This is just you're allowed into the strength room. That's it. But Lamar Jackson's there. Hooray! Our long national nightmare is over. Lamar Jackson is gonna...
Oh, we should probably hear the music.
I don't care about the music. He's gonna get on the Ravens elliptical today instead of the...
Yeah, they were showing he's running sprints and stuff. He's doing pull-ups.
There you go. This is the difference. Now you know.
Smile.
Now you know the Ravens are winning the Super Bowl this year. All it took was Lamar Jackson. God, we are so interested in somebody.
Here, hold on. I'll find. See, look at him. He's running around.
There you go. That's it. That's the difference. That's the difference. Lamar Jackson, the Ravens are winning the Super Bowl because look at Lamar Jackson. Angel Reese has been traded today, apparently. Angel Reese going to the where is she going?
The Dream, yes.
The Atlanta Dream. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm gonna make sure I had that right.
I don't know what the compensation.
I don't either, and nor do I know that it's very significant to me. But Angel Reese heads to Atlanta Dream. Ironically, once upon a time, of course, Angel McCoughtry, the other greatest Baltimore basketball player.
This one too. Yeah, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was there too, and
God bless him. Good for him.
Holy cow, 70s.
Don't care. Look at that. Angel McCoughtry, of course, was a longtime star for the Atlanta Dream, so kind of unique how that works out. But Baltimore's own Angel Reese has a new professional home. She will be in Atlanta. We talked about, obviously, John Heberlin threw out. I think whoever wins should donate a portion of their winnings to UMBC men's basketball's program, NIL.
Good way to hedge.
What say you, Drew? If I know Drew, he'll probably put the money towards either FCA or Calvert Hall Golf.
Yeah,
what. If I know Drew, that's where that money is going. If he ends up winning,
yeah, he'll put it on Tiger this weekend.
That's true,
maybe.
or he might do that. I don't think Tiger's playing this weekend.
Did
think
you know
that's
that?
the case. Don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I think that's going to be the case. So the subplot of the weekend was, of course, Tommy Lloyd in North Carolina. It's kind of hilarious, right? So on Saturday, you get the news. Tommy Lloyd, he's sticking around. He played him like a fiddle. Used North Carolina to get what he wanted from Arizona, only to turn around and get his ass handed to him. Then you probably had a few Arizona fans like, do we have to keep him?
Nah, he was good.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. That's a very good coach.
Maybe if not, literally everyone was losing to Michigan by 25 points.
Fair. Now the real question becomes, what do you do?
Except Maryland, they only lost by like 18.
Great point. They were close at the half.
Yeah.
What do you do if you're North Carolina, right? Where do you turn?
I saw him say, let's get Dawn Staley.
Okay. I mean, she just got her ass kicked too, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
She just got drubbed. I don't know what you do if you're North Carolina. Like we can revisit the Billy Donovan conversation we had last week. I didn't know that apparently Billy Donovan had said he wanted to see the year through, which...
Well, he might come back. Might go on a run here the last 8 days of the season.
Correct. That makes no sense. And as Patrick pointed out, we talked to him last week. Like the portal is opening, or guys are already in the portal. Poor Kevin Willard, man. You got to really feel for that guy, right? Like a Caden Lewis in the portal, and
Bryce Lindsey's
in the portal. God, you just feel